of owning your dream homes, EJ Investment is here for you. Secure our quality bungalows with 2, 3, or 4 bedrooms, or our story buildings, 3 or 4 to 5 bedrooms at very affordable prices with flexible payment plans at our Sanyang Seaview Estate, where you can enjoy the cool breeze with modern infrastructure such as tar roads, covered drainage system, modern electrification with street lights, gated entrance with security posts, and social amenities such as gas station, shopping mall, medical clinic, park, schools, children daycare, and a lot more. Our dedicated team of professionals will keep the estate clean at all times, provide security and patrol team within the estate premises, install latest technologies such as CCTV, Wi-Fi, home network installation, solar panel, and power backup system. Also, check out for our additional home facilities and interior design service such as premium tiling, wall plaster, home landscape, fingerprint home lock, and a lot more. Visit our office at Senegambia Kololi Highway and get a free site visit tour, or contact us on 4464838. WhatsApp us on 3259220. Or you can visit our Facebook page or Instagram on EJ Investments. EJ Investments, we are first in properties.
All right.
Honey, did you remind him that the last time he sent the money, it was not enough to buy all the provisions?
Oh, sorry, I forgot to tell him.
Are you guys talking about money transfer to buy provisions?
Yes.
But don't you know about Baluwo?
Baluwo? What is Baluwo?
Baluwo is a service that your son can use to send provisions directly to you guys from the shop. And you don't have to worry about the exchange rate.
Tell me how Baluwo works.
It's very simple.
Just log on to baluwo.com and shop, or download the app on your phone. You can shop on the website or using the app to buy online basic products for your family and friends. With Baluwo, you decide what your money is spent on. Your money, your choice. Buy online products for your family and friends in the Gambia, Senegal, Nigeria, or Mali. Baluwo, better than sending money.
Good afternoon to this press conference. My name is Fatou, Information Officer, Ministry of Lands and Regional Government. First, I would like to introduce our Permanent Secretary, Mr. Buba Sanyang, and the Deputy Permanent Secretary, Mr. Musa Baj. I also like to acknowledge the media, the family members of Job Kunda family of Jabang, and the family members of Jata Kunda family of Busumbala, and all those who have bought land from either families. Thank you. I also like to acknowledge the media and the police. I also acknowledge the police. Thank you. First, this press conference will be centered on the resolution of the land dispute between the Jatakunda family and the Jobkunda family. Initially, when it started, a tax committee was set up, which comprises the police, the ministry, and the members of the disputing families. We are here today to give the media and the public a rundown on the sequence and the meetings and events surrounding the dispute. Now I'll give the floor to Permanent Secretary to give a rundown on the sequence of the events. Thank you.
Thank you very much. On behalf of the Honorable Minister and the Ministry in general, I would like to welcome the DIG, AIG Police, and Mr. Sane. From the police for this press conference. I would also like to use the opportunity to welcome the representative of Jatakunda family of Busumbala, and we made to understand that the Jobkunda family hasn't appeared. Before going further, I would first like to apologize to the media that our first press briefing could not hold, and some of you came up to the ministry here. It was as a result of, again, Job Kunda, who are key stakeholder in this matter, were not available that day. And we deem it fitting. All right, now Job Kunda has just arrived. So we will acknowledge their presence, represented by Adama Job. And Mr. Adama Job and the team, you're welcome. The press briefing, as stated by the information officer, is basically to brief the press and all those concerned about an earlier land dispute between the Job Kunda family and the Jata Kunda family of Busumbala. Mr. Alaji Yusufa Job was granted a lease for agricultural purpose in 1998 in Jaban village, measuring 860 meters by 580 meters by 650 meters by 1 kilometer. The same Alaji Yusufa Job applied for a change of use from agricultural to residential in accordance with the State Land Act of 1991. The conditional change of use approval was granted in 2007, and in accordance with the State Land Act 1991 as amended, the state acquired 70% of the land and the 30% was left with the family. The 70% acquired by the state was later allocated to Social Security for an estate, Jabang Estate, part of which land forms the Jabang Estate. The remaining 30% for the family, they paid a change of use fee of $510,930. However, the Jatakunda family of Busumbala challenged the veracity of Job Kunda's lease in court. In 2013, the High Court entered a judgment in favor of Alaji Yusufa Job, that is the Job Kunda family represented here, that while the matter was in court, some people allegedly encroached into the Job Kunda family farmland. That in 2017, Yusufa Job, that is represented by the Job Kunda family, was issued with an unconditional change of use approval. Previously, they were given a conditional one, but an unconditional one was given to them. That means the confirmation of their change of use in 2017, after completing the payment of the change of use fee. That was the $510,000. After gaining full possession of the lease, Alaji Yusufa Job, that is the Job Kunda family, through their lawyer, requested the Thrift Division to accord them full possession of their lease land. The Thrift Division requested physical planning under the Inspector General of Police as a support to demolish the alleged encroachment and to provide security respectfully to accord the Job Kunda family full possession of their lease in accordance with the lease area. The demolition was conducted by the Thrift Division Physical Planning with the security support of the police to allow the Job Kunda family to gain full possession of their lease land. However, the Jatakunda family and those whose properties were demolished lodged a complaint to the police that some of the areas demolished were not part of the lease. Consequently, The police instituted an investigation to ascertain the veracity of those complaints. After the investigation, the police report recommended that, one, an independent surveyor to be hired to redemarcate the 70% and 30% of the leased land, and also to identify the 1 kilometer northern boundary of the leased land from the Jabang Cemetery to the east. Two, if it is discovered that after the redemarcation that more than 30% of the lease was given to Job Kunda, the difference to be given back to the traditional landowners. Three, people whose properties were demolished and are not within the lease to be given back their lands and to be compensated accordingly. Four, that the task force be instituted comprising of local government ministry, representatives from both Job Kunda and the traditional landowners under the police. Based on these recommendations, the ministry wrote to task force members, that was the members mentioned above, informing them of their selection as members of the task force. That the task force on the 24th of September 2019 held its first meeting and all members were present. The meeting resolved that the service of an independent surveyor should be hired to re-establish the Job Kunda lease on the ground. The Ministry of Lands should shortlist 3 surveying firms and submit same to the task force. On that day, the ministry were assigned to come up with the list of 3 surveying firms. And this list is to be presented to the task force for a decision. The task force received the shortlisted surveying firms and unanimously agreed to hire the service of Cityscape surveying firm. This task force resolved that the Ministry of Lands, regional government should come up with the cost of hiring the service of the independent surveyor. That means it's the responsibility of the government to pay for the service of the independent surveyor. The task force also agreed that the dispute parties, Job Kunda and the Jata Kunda family, should individually hire service of a surveyor to protect their interests during the course of the exercise. This was very important because we felt that we are going to hire a service of an independent surveyor, and it will only be fitting for each of the parties also to have their personal surveyors to be part of the process so that they understand and they will be informing them and they will protect their interests. And on this particular engagement, the Jatakunda family informed the task force that they have one Mr. Jajusti as their independent surveyor. And then Job Kunda did inform us that Adama Job will represent them as the surveyor. The independent surveyor first generated a report which was presented to the entire task force. The task force unanimously agreed on the findings of the independent surveyor and the methodology used in the re-establishment of the lease on the ground. The independent surveyor, after presenting his work to the task force, re-established the lease on the ground by painting pillars at the planting pillars at the four corners of the lease. To further define the boundary, the independent surveyor densify, that means to put in pillars at the distance of 50 meters in between the corners. If you have one corner, which is, as I earlier on informed you, that is some sites are about 800 meters. So now the independent surveyor have to go in between the 800 meters at every 50 meters to put a peg so that the line will be established to know where the line is heading and where it passes through. After this exercise, a site visit was conducted by the task force members, during which the independent surveyor saw the boundary of the lease. On this particular occasion, both the police and all the affected parties, that is the Job Kunda under the Busumbala Jatakunda family, were present with their surveyors to look at what the independent surveyor did to ascertain together with the rest of the team. After re-establishing the boundary of the lease, it became apparent that both parties, that is both Job Kunda and the Jatakunda, have sold beyond their limits. After we did this particular field visit, we came to realize that Job Kunda sold more than what is within their lease, and also the Jatakunda family has sold to people encroaching into the lease of the Job Kunda family. Thus, for the ministries, ministry accorded both parties the right over their land. After establishing the boundary, the demolition exercise is to be conducted. Because once we establish the boundary, we establish who is where, rightly or wrongly. Those who are at the wrong side, they should be removed so that the person will have his right, especially within the lease. During the meeting, the Ministry of Lands proposed to disputing parties to accept a trade-off to minimize the degree of demolition, one, and also to reduce the cost that might be associated with that demolition. At the same time, save a lot of people who were sold land at the wrong place. What we mean here is, after this engagement, after we realized that part of the land within the lease area was being traded on by the Busumbala family. And also, the land outside the lease also was traded on by the Job Kunda family. The ministry suggested to both parties that we would suggest that there is a trade-off. A trade-off in the sense that when we are able to work together with the two teams to establish how much land is being sold within the lease and vice versa, outside the lease as well, so that we can see if there are 10 plots within and 10 plots outside, and this 10 plot is not only going to be by number, it is also going to look at the land area so that there could be an equal trade-off from one party to another. So that what is left now, whether Job Kunda has left over or Jatakunda has left over, that will be discussed later. So that those within the Job Kunda who have been sold by the Jatakunda, 3 people, and there are other 3 people in Jatakunda sold by Job Kunda, these 3 will be left at where they are, and the documentation will be done in their names in accordance to where they are. So this particular proposal was accepted by the Jatakunda family on that day, and the Job Kunda family pleaded to be given more time to consult with the rest of the family. And I think the meeting was on a Monday, and we asked them to come back on a Wednesday to inform the task force as to their decision. And subsequently, the Job Kunda family informed the task force that they do not agree with the trade-off proposal, hence would prefer a demolition exercise to be undertaken by the ministry, thus accord them their right to their lease. I think we will all acknowledge and know that there are two fundamental things here that we are looking at as a ministry, and that they also look into by the task force. That is, there exists a lease, and equally there was a judgment. So these are very fundamental. There is a lease and there is a judgment. The judgment is based on a lease, and based on that, the right of that the judgment has given right to the Job Kunda family for an area, which we cannot decide as a ministry as to how that should be administered. And then also decide outside the lease, there are rights of customary ownerships there, which we cannot just decide as a ministry. We have to seek their individual authority for us to be able to proceed, which we did, and then this was later dropped based on the disagreement from the side of the Job Kunda. After extensive discussion, both parties settled for the demolition to accord each of them their rights over their land. And as a ministry, we are obliged as an executive arm to support the decision of a judiciary, that is a court judgment. We cannot change a court judgment, and we cannot review a court judgment. We can only help the judiciary to enforce a court judgment. So based on that fact, there is a court judgment acquired, giving the right of a lease to a particular individual or a group. So all what we can do is we have to join other stakeholders to help execute that judgment. And as such, as at now, the position of the ministry and the way forward is we are going to proceed on area within the lease. We will be proceeding to accord those people who have acquired their land from the Job Kunda family to process their documentation by giving them assignments within their lease. Equally, the area outside the lease, the ministry will now proceed in according those people who bought land from the traditional landowners, that is, to be specific, the Jatakuna family of Pusumbala, to be accorded that right to have their documentation. If I may say this, the Jatakunda family of Pusumbala have, we've received a power of authority given to one Amadou Sise to represent them, and we also received documentation for Mr. Adama Job to be the administrator for the Job Kunda family. So most of the time, these are the two people as a ministry we contact, and then they will inform their people accordingly. And I would like both of them being present here to inform them officially now that the ministry's position from today onwards, we will put a desk officer who will be responsible for the documentation of people's property within the lease and outside the lease to Job Kunda and the Jatakunda family respectively. And we want all process that are to come through the Job Kunda family, to come through Mr. Adama Job, who is the administrator as far as our records are concerned, until otherwise, and also all documentations through Jatakunda to come through Mr. Amadou Sise, who is representing them as far as our records are concerned. And then we will be able to accord those innocent Gambians who bought land from each of these bodies to be able to process their documentation and have a peace of mind, finally, to know that they are at the right place. They can acquire their documents as anybody else, and then do their developments, and then settle with their families. So this is where the position of the ministry lies, and then we will proceed along that line. And also, it has come to our attention, sadly, that we have, after the independent surveyors pegging of the site, I did mention that we went round to mark on the walls where this line passes through. We've received very disturbing information. That is, we've got this. This is our line that we put on the walls. We've realized that somebody went and crossed it as wrong, and the person has put in this one and mark it as correct. So whosoever is doing it, we want the person to refrain from it. These are coordinates that you cannot cheat. Whether I am here or whosoever from this ministry is here or not, those coordinates are fixed positions. You just need to track them and know where their positions are. And we made to understand also some pillars have been removed, and I think this has been reported to the police as well. They inform us from the station in Jabang. So we want whosoever is doing it, being from the parties or being from the the beneficiaries, to stop those kind of activities by confusing people. This is not time for us to confuse the beneficiaries or to confuse the people. This is the time for us to make them understand that the realities on the ground is this way, and we face the realities and then see how we are going to address that reality. We at this ministry would like to assure you all that we will be together with you to make sure that this process, we go through it, and then we support all the process in terms of documentation, in terms of providing your right to your property, for those who have bought properties within the right place. And that we need to stress. Those who buy properties within the right place will be supported to have their documentations. The rest of the people, we advise you to engage the site that you fall on. If you have fallen on the lease area and you have been sold this land by the Jatakunda of Busumbala family, we urge you to meet the Jomkunda people. They are the rightful owner of that site, to negotiate and renegotiate to see how you solve the problem. Maybe later you can go to the Jatakunda and see how you get back your funding or whatever. Equally, those outside the lease, and they are not been sold by the Jatakunda, they have been sold by the Jomkunda, you are urged to go and meet the Jatakunda family of Busumbala to see how you negotiate with them so that we can minimize the damage, we can minimize the losses, we can minimize a lot of things. We are the people coming to stay together. We are Gambians, we are all Gambians. I feel if we talk to each other, if we engage each other, this problem will be minimized, and then the damage will be minimized equally. So we urge all those who are affected to engage the party where you fall in and then try to solve. And then we'll also urge all parties to exercise leniency with innocent victims to see how we help them finally settle down, as that is their intention, to have the site available to them to be able to have a roof over their head. So we will put this personal plea to the parties, that is the Job Kunda and the Jatakunda family, to exercise that leniency with them to see them through. That is basically the basic information we want to pass through, and we will receive some questions for clarifications on the matter. Whosoever want to have any clarification, we will accord you the responsibility, but then, sorry, the opportunity. But then we will also want it to be coordinated. So maybe the information officer, you can raise your hand. She will take maybe your name or point at you to give you the opportunity to pose your question to be answered. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, PS, for the rundown of the events surrounding the land dispute between Jatakunda and Jobkunda family. Now we'll take few questions from the media and then wrap up. That, okay. Your name, please.
My name is Sheikh Ndao. I'm not actually part of the media, but I'm a stakeholder. I have a property. Yeah, I think it's important. I have a property that is fully developed. And the land I bought, I'm representing both myself and my brother. We bought the land from the Jobkunda family. And we were giving copies of lease documents with the understanding that that part of the land, belongs to them. Now, we had actually started the lease process until it was okay up to the lands department. I think up to the ministry, that's where it stopped. Now, what I am saying is, and these are very expensive buildings, story buildings. He knows what I'm talking about. He knows what I'm talking about. Are you telling us that we are living with our families there? A bulldozer is going to come and then demolish everything? That is one. Secondly, there are some people coming around the area saying that they don't have any representative. I can give you names. One is called, I think, Sirifo Jata. The other one is called Lamin Jata. They are saying they are the traditional owners. They are not being represented by anybody. So this is the confusion that we are in. And thirdly, if a task force was already established, we expect the task force to have a report. Would you kindly be kind enough, at least to avail the media the opportunities to see the report of the task force, so that all of us would, would peacefully live in our homes. Because we are living with our families there, and then not that we just build. We were given, building.
Can we minimize the question so that we remember?
Yes, these are the three questions. Yeah. Yes, thank you, sir.
Yes. Your first question is that you are living in an area.
I'm living there with my family.
And you are living in an area.
In an area I bought.
Is it inside the lease or outside the lease?
I cannot know.
Okay, maybe we'll have to establish, because if we cannot know, we might not be able to answer your question. Since we don't know, we'll skip that, because we will not be able to answer your question.
My understanding that is outside of the lease.
Yeah, you have to complain with us.
Yes.
Don't hide yourself.
No, I'm not hiding.
No, I'm coming out. We are here to address your problem.
I am not
so we can only address it
yes.
when you come out, and then we yes. know the position.
No, there is nothing to hide.
Sorry.
Yeah,
but you are telling me that you don't know.
No, what I am saying is, what I was told, and I was given lease documents, copies. That he told me that it was part of the lease. Now you are saying that it's out of the lease. That's why I said I don't know.
I am not saying that.
No, that area I mean. Okay, let's assume that it's out of the lease.
No, we don't assume. We have to be certain.
We
either.
Yes. So you should know
whether you are in or out.
It is outside.
Now, that's what I said. Complain to us, then we can answer.
According to the mark that you put, is outside of the mark.
Outside the mark.
Yes.
That means outside the lease.
Yes.
You will have to agree with me. You are claiming title to a property.
Yes.
And then we also have to give right to people to their properties.
Absolutely.
Where you get your land, unfortunately, the person who sold you the land does not own that far. That's why we said, engage the people who own that place. That is simple. So we urge you to engage the people who own that place. I think your second concern is you get people who said they are not represented.
What I'm saying is, some people are coming around the area
yes.
as well.
They said they are not represented.
Yes.
Yes. I said in my statement that as far as our records concerned, we have got 2 representatives. Until otherwise, we deal with those 2. Okay, and your third concern is?
Tax force report.
Yeah, the tax force report is available, but then it's not, we are given a press briefing. So I don't think you are the right person to ask for the tax force report. I'm saying the parties who were involved all went through what has gone through. They were part of the task force. So you are a beneficiary. You just engage the person who represents your interests. And then you'll get what you want, what you will want to get.
No, the reason why I'm asking because I've asked the guy who sold me the property. He said he has never set eye on the report.
Okay.
I would want to see him.
Maybe you as a beneficiary from that person, maybe that person should engage the office, relevant office, to acquire that. Right.
Can I buttress on the first one? Yeah, I think during the presentation, PS made mention that the ministry's proposal was to allow parties to trade. We've been there. We've seen the level of development in the area. Now, we thought that at the time, or we still believe that, the most reasonable thing to do under the circumstance is to allow parties to trade off, okay? Because people are living there, they spend a lot of money there. And we realized that the value of the amount they spend to buy land, a lot of people invested because they assume they have land already, but they built houses and they're living there. So that is why we insisted at the time that let's call for a trade-off. And if we are going to do a trade-off, it's going to start with people who are living there already. They've built and they're living there with families. And then we come to the next step, who are people who have started or have gone far in the development. But as PS says, ultimately, it's the responsibility of the state to accord them their right. And if they insist that they want to have full right over their land, even at the extent of demolishing, well, we don't have much choice. And that is why we call in the media, because we know that there is a lot of narrative out there. Ministry says this is the task force. We want everybody to hear from the horse's mouth. The decision to demolish is not the ministry. We've pushed it to an extent to allow them to reason with us to trade off, but they insist on demolishing to accord them their right. I think that should come clear.
Yeah. One thing I want to ask, my question is Jukunda and Katakunda. Please, I want you first to make trade. I want you people to make trade. I want trade. Please. We are appealing, we desire we want you to make a trade. I bought 2 properties.
They said question.
My question is now, Mr. Permanent Secretary, my properties fall in the Jokundas outside the list. And how do you think now I can acquire my plots?
Okay. The accusation of your plot, it seems you have bought somebody's property. That's the definition. You have bought somebody's property. That is the Jatakunda family. So you need to engage them, as I said earlier. Those who are at the wrong place, engage the place that you fall on, and then we also appeal to them to be lenient to see how we solve the problem. And I want to say this on record, that during this meeting, the engagement, I called both Mr. Adama and Mr. Cisse. I told them you have to swallow your pride for the interests of the people that you sold land to. For one, and for God's sake, at least we should be able to swallow our pride to the benefit of the people we sold land to. But that's where we can stop. We cannot force onto anybody, and we cannot review or change the decision of the court.
Yeah, my name is Fatou. I work with the cabinet. Yes, I heard you, if I am correct, that those that bought land at the wrong places should engage the right owners of those places. So now my question is, this Bojankunda and the Jatakunda people, Jokunda, sorry, people, are they willing to listen to these people if they come to talk to them? What is their model specifically? Like, for example, this man saying he bought it from he bought the wrong land from the wrong person, and now he is supposed to engage the rightful owner where he bought. How is he, like, how are you sure that those people are willing to listen to what he said? What is there for these people? I don't know if you understand my question.
Yeah, I think I understand.
Let me just add something to there, to that so you can answer that once. Suppose he engaged the rightful owner and they're not cooperative.
Yeah.
Okay, then even when they cooperate, what about his investment? How is he going to get this investment back from the job farmer?
Yes, yeah, exactly, either side. Yes, I think the question is very important. But I think during during my deliberation, I did mention that they need to engage these people, and we also appeal for them to be linear, to understand. And during the engagement of the task force throughout, we have been constantly informing the both parties that these are innocent victims. Please, we appealing for them to have the understanding and deal with their case. But the worst case scenario is you are at the wrong place. We cannot accord you your right on somebody's right. So the only thing is, if there is no way, our law demands us to give the person his right. But you also have a right from somebody. You go to pursue that person to give you what owes to you.
The two families are already here, right? The Jokunda and the Jatakunda. So we want them to tell us, how are they willing to accept if these people come to them?
I think they can answer.
Yes.
And one more. Yes, he's at the wrong place. He bought somebody else's land. But he bought it from somebody. What is the court saying about him being swindled by somebody? But because he bought the land from him.
I think that's for that person to exercise his right by going to court. If he
That's what I'm saying. That's what I want to know.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what we want to know.
I think in the beginning, the whole thing started by somebody aggrieved and going to court.
Yes.
So it's the same procedure. Yeah. Yeah, but then the parties are here.
We really want to
if we want to talk to them directly, I don't know whether we want to serve that question and talk to the ministry first, then we can bring this question to them to answer, or we can do it as we go.
Because I think the purpose of them
I think the position that you made is to for them to understand that, and these other people that we can convey. Otherwise, there would be conflict.
Why not? We've given you information.
Yes.
And then it is now up to you to pursue that. Already you know where the issues are. So I think it's a responsibility of journalists now to follow through the story and establish, the other facts. But if we want to have all these discussions,
if you want to do it here, it might be.
The essence of this is to bring
give you the information.
So if you have any further question, you can follow it up with them. Maybe conduct private interview.
Yes, sorry, can I come in one?
You have a question?
I have a quick question.
Okay, then after you.
Yeah. My name is Lamil Bai. I'm a legal practitioner. Just a quick observation what we are all talking about. I think both families are open to negotiation. I have done negotiation on behalf of some parties who are involved in Jokunda and Chatakunda. And both families are open to negotiate this matter to settle it. So we are doing that. But also, you have your right as individuals. If you want to enforce your right, you can go to the court, or you can go to either families to talk to them, and they will settle your problem. That is what I have to observe right now.
During the cases,
Your name, please.
Amundu Tabufa from the stand. During the cases deliberations, he made mention of the appointment of an independent surveyor to actually demarcate the boundaries of the disputed land. But we've got reports that after the demarcation, there are allegations of some loss of land, lands not being misappropriated with almost 410 Actually, our information is that these lands, actually, been traded off, between senior government, senior ministry officials, as well as in cooperative with businessmen. So actually, I want to know whether during your investigation, during all the tasks, have you come across any instance where you discover that lands have actually gone in the wrong hands and in an unscrupulous way? Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. As far as our engagements are concerned, both parties were both present during the task force, and the police also conducted investigation, and they produced a report. But I've not, during my engagement with all parties, it has never been brought to my attention that there has been any of such. Not to my attention. I don't say it does not exist, but not to my attention. And also, the report submitted by the police has not indicated any of such. So as far as we are concerned, we have not got any report of such from any of the parties we are dealing with. Thank you.
Yeah, and I just want to add, let's look at the logic of it. The ministry is prepared to go in and demolish to accord these people their right over their land. If the ministry is part of selling land within, do you think this is a position that the ministry will embrace? Just use your logic on it.
Can you identify yourself?
Musa Baji, Deputy Permanent Secretary, Technical. Yeah.
Well, I thank you all for coming. Well, what I just want to say, here is the wall. Whatever situation you have to accept it. Whatever you did, you have to accept it. For the ministry, they have done up to their maximum level. But I was just expecting a question, or maybe it's not yet asked, or I don't know whether it will be asked, why I shouldn't, or why we as a family and as a party and as a leaseholder and as a judgment holder didn't accept the swap. Maybe you are calling it trade-off, but the simple word we are using that day is swap. My simple reason is I cannot swap when the person you are to swap with is grabbing all what you are to swap. So where is that swap we are talking of? Because since the last day of the task force here, Amadou Cisse, he called himself a representative of Busumbala.
Can we stop being personal about this matter? Maybe the journalists will engage you outside.
Okay.
Do that.
No, I'm coming.
Do that discussion outside. No. This is a press briefing.
Okay, as for us, okay.
What is your decision on?
Okay, as for us, as a family and as the family leader, we are open to negotiation. We are not waiting for the task force to call us in corridor or wherever. We are ready. Whoever feels that we obstruct you, come. We see how to do. We are ready for it. Maybe for him, he's not ready. But as for us,
thank you very much. My name is Amadou Cisse, living in Busumbala and representing the Jatakunda families. So since the day one in this issue, we accepted for negotiation. We accepted for swap. Any proposal that being made, we see that definitely is something that's going to be help and then minimize damages or minimize anything that fall into something that we did not expect. We accept it as families. And there is even other people sitting in this showroom that can even be my witness. We've been cooperating with them, and they are here, and their counsel also was here, and he later just spoken, and he can be our witnesses. We open a door. We are open up. For us, we are open up. A lot of propaganda has been sent to the ground, but if you don't talk to the person, you will not know who is the person. So we are open up. Anybody feel like you are outside Job Kunda family and got a land from Job Kunda family, you are into Busumbala land, Jatakunda family, we are open up. Come up, talk to us. So we are open up. If the land that's sold to you, we did not give it to anybody and did not sold to anybody, come up, we sit down and cooperate with us. That's what we expect people to do. Yeah, thank you so much.
So, but still, more be will find the water roll, a man of government yarba, in Konda water. Still, because don't be from so much Tatala police, you know, police station. Yes, I'm a CIA. But every year I can't a boy more than Lanka, neither a station or a car for the car court, neither a court, court in another for the money in a car 2 hours. So malako ministry ba bolo kala.
Court proceedings ndolma sembo soto ministry. Ne on fama tara court ndol become dabula je.
What about say more million de wafiro la still?
Bemina.
Because police or polo.
Bari saying yo report police le. Anu police oli akalam dale. Ngaje ko police ol be la simfata la woto pour ka je ko nimmo mi alo ke be kuke ka ministre lo mata. Police ol bo taman la. Bari police ol fanan fay sedo soto. Jani be ko taman de la.
Because you see me for it was since 2014. Modoya wafi. They have a teamless already. They have a team. Nini do ya wafi amon succeed. Aka dole bula ya wafi.
Amola bar ne awaf momoma tra mo sobende fo mo le wakili.
So the police what they do is if be more so that mean be discouraging the police. So they display the account for you to withdraw.
Amola but say la right ni moy keno wafima. Ayela kodo do. Mso wrong. Ila moy jang. Yawe ni moy keno wafima. Ayela kodo do. Another muru ay discouraging di. It case drop. De nyamala fota. That's it. That court. You know that a court la case fight in Boli Diamola be for a judgment also. Kabri in 2001, in a court for a banda. For a wakili wala ni moye la right lote la right kam. If ane wuli eta blal minus be lori wala pour que la right murundi la. Eta je ye bule no ma ba la right sen lela. Yes.
We want to know what's the ministry's stand in this? We have so many land disputes in this country.
Yeah, thank you very much. The ministry is doing all within its power to work on minimizing or, if possible, eliminating land issues. One of it is we are working on developing what we call cadastral mapping and land registration. This we have gone far. We have got a concept document from an international organization that will map out the entire country, every inch of the country, and then provide title to individuals, especially women and children, the disadvantaged members of our society. This process is on, and equally, as of now, the short-term measures that we are doing is that we are doing georeferencing of all land transactions that go through our offices, that is our physical planning office. If you go there now to transact a land, they will pick coordinates of that land. And if anybody goes to do transaction on the same land, they will be able to detect that this land has been transacted before. So this has helped us a lot in eliminating a lot of double documentation. So that process is on. And I will, at this stage, like to announce that after this press briefing, we'll go down, we'll hand over 4 pickup vehicles to our regional offices to enable them also address the same problem you are talking about. So land dispute, we have to look at it from 2 contexts. We look at it from state land area, where state has acquired land and the state has allocated. We look at the Kotus, we look at the Fajaras, we look at the Cape Points, we look at the Brusubis, we look at the layouts where we have the government has entered and put in layouts. These are the areas where we have public spaces, we have schools, we have the football fields, we have the markets, we have the cemeteries been provided in this area. But then equally, within this same state land area, we have customary transactions going on, whereby settlements are doing demarcations at their own level. Our development control unit of the Department of Physical Planning is working to control these developments and then see how we can also minimize these demolitions, whereby people will not even develop in the first place, more or less to say to go and demolish. So in essence, the ministry is working on having this cadastral mapping, working on a land policy, and also at the moment we are doing a lot of georeferencing in terms of transactions done at our level. We have a project with the FAO, and in fact we are going on a sensitization program on the TVs and also on the radios to inform people about their rights and also to inform people about what is not your right. This is very important. As the gentleman said, there are people going around selling other people's land. You know, if somebody is selling land, people have to take their rights. But then you don't have to trade on other people's rights. These are some of the issues that we are faced with. People have to understand that land can be owned by 4 major ways. That is, one, you inherit it from your rightful family. That means your parents own that land, you inherit it from them. They are rightful ownership. I don't say they have been borrowed the land, you inherit it. That's not the case. You have to have an inheritance right. Or you buy this land from the rightful owner. Or it's a gift from this rightful owner. Or it is a state allocation. These are the ways that you can acquire land. And then I would like to use this opportunity to appeal to the general public that anytime somebody wants to sell them land, let them contact the relevant authorities for advice. Because most of the time we get into the transaction at the tail end. When people have already, money has changed hand, they want to do the documentation. I think somebody mentioned there, the paper went until it came to the ministry, we stopped it. So at that stage, money has changed hand already. We have not been informed at the stage of people selling their lands or buying their lands. The ministry is not in the picture at that time. Until when the land transaction has taken place and things go wrong when we are doing the documentation, then we come to realize that you are at the wrong place, or you are buying somebody else's land, and then, or you are within a reserve, or anything that has to do with the land not being your right. So we will appeal to those potential land buyers to make sure that they engage the ministry so that we assist each other. But we'll also send this information to those people who are selling land to trade only on their land that they rightfully own. If they don't do that, one day the law will catch up with them and they will find themselves at a wrong place.
And I want to know the government's position with the issue of Tranquil, because there is one white man, Ben, he bought a piece of land in Tranquil. And then these people that are residents there now also bought the land from the same person that the white man bought it from. And they built their houses there, about 22 homes there. And Ben is like, this issue happened during the time of the former president. Ben accordingly said when he wanted to get back his land, the former government, there was a president, wanted to compensate him a land and Brikama, but then the terms and conditions that were put in place were not in his favor. So he said he was not going to buy that. So that was when he was asked to leave the country. So he left, and when he left, the people that bought those lands from the Alcalo that Ben bought it from built their houses, and some of them spent millions of dollars to build in those houses. And now Ben wants to get his land back. If you look at the documentation that Ben has, it will tell you that he is in fact the original owner of this place. So I want to know, what is the position of the government in that aspect?
Yeah, this is a judicial
matter.
matter.
People have been calling. That is the 22 families that are in Tranquil. All they do, all we hear them call out is the government. They want the government to intervene in this matter. That is why I bring this question up. Otherwise, I wouldn't.
Yeah, I think they engage the government.
Yeah, so I want to know.
I think they engage the government, but then what I can say, this is a judicial matter. It has gone to court, and a judgment and a ruling is given to a party.
Yeah, it's all given.
Exactly. So that is at the level of the sheriff division to work on that. The ministry can only support where it is necessary, but we cannot interfere and make any decision. Whosoever has the right on that property will have to decide. But that doesn't stop the people affected to engage government to see what can be done. And they did that, and then I think if they continue engaging government to see what could be the solution, we cannot force the rightful owner to leave his property, but we can also see what government can do for those people affected.
Last and final. Yes, don't you think the courts and the government are too lenient with the kind of punishment or giving to most of these land dealers? Because let's take, for example, this case. He sold the piece of land, the judge sold it to the Jews. Judge should be able to establish the size of the land he sold to Joe. Joe should also be able to establish what he owned. But if he goes on to sell to innocent people what doesn't belong to him, and the same and vis-a-vis, only for the poor victims to remain languishing like these women, at this point in time, is them again, after spending their money on the piece of land, develop it, are following these people to appeal. I think a very heavy penalty, because it's not the first and it will not be the last. Landlords will always continue to sell no or provide what they do not own. Okay, but if they are the law, if the law takes care of them in such a way that the punishment levied on him then are so huge, I think that's one of the ways of barring all these kind of activities. Because look at it. Take for example the case of this woman.
Yeah, but the question.
I think Louis, you are doing the advocacy at the wrong place.
Yeah,
this is for the National Assembly to deal with.
I want us to share it, because if you know and I know, because probably you have the opportunity to see where some of these things could be discussed.
Yeah.
Okay?
No, but what I'm trying to say is the courts can only apply what is in the laws.
That's why I say the court and the government.
Exactly. So you and I need to take this advocacy to the National Assembly level. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So
yeah, we
because if you look at the Constitution, it is telling you that the first person, like he who comes first, So if I first buy a land and then you come in and buy that land, I am in fact the original owner, no matter how much amount you buy it at. So I think there should be laws that should, draw out a heavy penalty for whoever a real estate agent that is doing it, because most of the problems that we are having is caused by this real estate agent, and there is no specific law, to my knowledge, that is really dealing out with these people. So that is why we continue to have the problems that we are having.
It is persisting because.
Yeah, I think the fact is, as far as this case is concerned, we might not be able to. But then we also have to accept the fact that Gambians don't go to court to ask for their rights.
But the courts are that and that and that.
Yeah, that is the case. Anyway, it's a it's a judicial matter. It's a judicial matter. Maybe when the matter the level of fine that a judge will give will have to be dictated by what is attainable within the books, or what is the limit he has, which is his power.
You can get me witness. Gambians don't go to court, because even this land issues alone, it's not only court. They are connected with spiritual wars and other things.
Yes.
Okay. Can we have that? Now what we want is
What's the final clarification on the families?
Let him go first.
Yes, please. Are the families ready?
no. You engage them after. You engage them after.
But we have to go with information.
They said from their own mouth that they are ready to engage.
So they are ready to trade.
They accepted to.
Yes.
You accept the trade-off now?
No, they didn't talk about trade.
They don't talk. They said they accept to negotiate with whosoever falls within their area. If I get them right. Yeah, if I get them right, huh?
Good afternoon, everyone. And I just would like the panel to make some certain clarification for us, because I believe each and every one of us meeting here today, in one way or the other, has been affected with this Jokunda or Jatakunda family problem with the land issue at Java. And I believe, just as you rightly mentioned, that the panel was set up and then the clarification and the findings has already been put together, and then that's why you call us here, to come and deliver to us. Anyway, I'm also a victim of the Japan problem, but I believe the demarcations were made with the pegs and then the red lines you made. So I would just want this panel to clarify to us exactly which area of the peg fall within the Job Kunda and which one fall within the Busumbala, the people within the Jatakunda family. Because I believe there are still some people within the two families that are still denying the fact, despite the fact that you have made your demarcation, but still maybe you're within the demarcation, you will fall within the Jokunda, and then Jokunda will tell you, no, this demarcation is wrong, it's Jatakunda. Or you fall within Jatakunda, Jatakunda will tell you, no, it's Jokunda. So if you can rightly tell us here, which part of the demarcation fall within Jokunda and Jatakunda, so that we can be at peace.
Yeah, if we go on the wall,
yeah,
you see this red mark?
Yeah.
It's our mark.
Exactly.
And that represents our line.
Okay.
Anything, we've seen a new one, like that. It's not our mark. So, but then what is the most important thing is if you are in a doubt, you contact our office. We'll provide you with somebody to take you on the side and then specifically tell you where you fall. I think that will be the easiest way. But to give you just a scenario here, if you are in Jabang at the roundabout, if you are at the roundabout, going towards the east, you follow our line. Anything on your right-hand side is within the lease. Until you get to the last peg, anything on your right-hand side is within the lease. And anything on your left-hand side is outside the lease. If you get to the last point, you turn towards the southern side, going towards this place, Latria. Or anything on your right, the same, is within the lease. Anything on the left is outside the lease. Until you get to the last point. When you turn again, anything on your right is within the lease, and anything on your left is outside the lease. So that is a simple explanation. But to be precise, please contact the office. We'll avail you a technician to help
What
you.
I mean is practically, if you go on the ground, you see the demarcation for yourself, and it's clearly being spelled out. But you still have people refusing that no, even if when you fell on the other side, no, it's within this other side. They still tell to confuse the people.
Now come for your documentation. Whosoever falls, wherever you fall, come for your documentation, and then we'll get you a technician on the ground, and then we'll accept or refuse your documentation based on where you fall, whether it is right or wrong. I think that will help you out. Yeah, clearly. And now we want to use this opportunity on behalf of the ministry to thank the task force members, to thank the Job Kunda family ably represented by Adama Job, and also the Jatakunda family ably represented by Amadou Sise. During the course of our engagement with them, we want to thank them for availing us that opportunity to work with them to solve this problem. We have gone one stage, that is to identify where is the lease. We've known where the lease is, and now the next stage is for the parties to do their documentation. And that documentation stage is what the ministry will assist both parties, that is the Job Kuna and the Jata Kuna family, and also those people who bought land from each of them to be able to get their documents so that they will be comfortable finally to do whatever development they want to do within their land. And I will stress this point again. Please, the Job Kuna and the Jata Kuna family, please exercise some lenience with those people who might fall wrongly within your side as innocent victims. And I will also urge those people who are affected to meet these people where their property falls to see how they engage them to have this problem solved. We wish to thank the media for being around, and we apologize for the last time around, as I said earlier. And as announced here, we want you to go down with us. We want to hand over some vehicles to our regional offices for that ceremony to quickly take place, some 5-10 minutes of your time. Thank you very much, and thanks everybody for coming on behalf of the Honorable Minister and the Ministry. Thank you.
Somebody natakana na fenso ka sound ka don kono to ka bungo start je. So amariala no batu jena tanga mari nyini ngala no batanga call. Ako property nyi atil tamo property nyi te atya sang job kuna ko le bulo kono. Tena tay tanda ko property ndefa nga sang onda Jata Kunda family. Nata from the Brusubi police station, dada Yolindum police station. So in advance advice me na ko then be do ko stop the line to follow until ning ila independent moliela find out okay from there they come back to us. So of recent biri intada je ngati demarcation no nyike luckily ngaju be kondela property faulta within the Jata Kunda nga sam mil bulo kono despite nata mari nyita call nkai ko ndele nyo saba dulala jaba nde fenso ke na bon loje sa en bonye ba kino la jari sa nyaadi lo atemi tana ko nyoko sign there's no problem ala kitita la o nyamale I accept in good faith. Less than 2 minutes, Adama Job called me. Until I am Adama Job. What is the problem?
did you call one Mr. Jeng Yafaeko, that property in Benjamin belongs to you? I said, yes, of course. And you can grounds anyway, after the finding out, the demarcation on you, I don't fall within your list. So that means the property is my property. So he still tried to threaten me that the property belongs to them and not to me. So like I asked that question now, despite the fact Nilela lines okay with all the demarcation, so people are still confusing people that, ila property man fall down, it still tell it belongs to them. So what is the problem? So definitely we are going to property sign me clarify the property I got fall within the Jatakunda, so the property is my property. Yeah.
Property sign fall within the other family.
Yeah, with Jatakunda, yeah.
And then those people are open to negotiation.
Yeah.
So in case
well, no, until a property a fault within the family nga soto milbulokono. I got it from Jatakunda, and the demarcation is under Jatakunda. But still, the Job Kunda people are insisting that demarcation is wrong, is under Job Kunda. That's why I raised that question here.
So where are you exactly?
I am within the Jatakunda. I bought it from the Jatakunda. The rightful, exactly, yes, of course, yes.
So I love the documentation at dental level.
Well, documentation and start no, but they are going stop, so we stopped everything. But right now I'm with the physical planning. They are doing my skate planning and then maybe the certificate of occupancy and the like. So right now I'm working hand in hand with them right now to process my documents.
You made it open that you are open for negotiation. So my question is, in case these people came to you, what are you willing to take? What are you willing to accept? Is it monetary term, or you will just accept these people to stay in your properties, the properties that were not sold by you, instead by Job Kunda?
Yeah, we have been saying this since earlier. Initially, that's what even was the proposal from the ministry, that anybody who got a land or sold a land outside Job Kunda family sold a land outside their territory and you fall into our side, we open up. We asking them to come and cooperate with us. As the power of attorney holder, we have no intention going into evictions or going into anything whereby it did not, been, expected. We are not representing that. First, those who fell outside the list and got the land from Job Kunda, let them come and talk to us. We are open up. If the land been given to you, if it is not being given to any other party by us, so we cooperate with us. We ask you to cooperate with us. Then those who give in there and you are already settled, if you are settled already, and also if you are settled with your family there, those who own the land before, we like to sit with you and then call the same person and then sit with us, so then we see how we're able to acquire another land for the previous owner of that land, so you can able to remain from your land. That is our expectation from those who affected from outside the list fall into our area.
What do you expect to gain from those people? Do you expect to gain monetary terms?
No, Gambia, I can say we are all families. Some other, and you look at it in another way, we are all families and people are not the same. And some people can afford money to compare, but some people also can be, we can sit and talk to them as families, because here we are all families. We less than 3 million, so we are different from other countries. We can sit and then talk properly.
Yeah,
by knowing your conditions. Yeah.
Thank you. My other question is, it is clear that you, the Jatakunda, also have sold properties that belong to some of the Jokula, if you look at it. Why did you sell these lands? What happened? Didn't you know that this was not yours in the first place?
No, that is up to those who sell the land from them. But for me personally, what I'm representing personally, if a land is being sold into another area whereby it did not fall into our area, it's up to those who sell the land to go and cooperate where the land is sold, or those who owns the land corporately. Because I'm representing inside Busumbala. That's where we are representing, but not outside Busumbala. So it's their responsibility to meet those who owns the land as of now, to talk to them and cooperate with them as expected.
Did the Jatakunda sell any land that do not belong to them and belongs to the Jokula?
We don't yet confirm. We have to confirm it. We have to come to the ground and then do that. As the ministry said, there's nothing before them for now. As they made it very clear, it's in record. There's nothing before them now. If that been happen, we have to come and confirm it with the help of the ministry and other concerned people.
But you are confirming that Jokunda has indeed sold land?
Obviously, yeah, obviously. As we know the area is belong to us, we know some other lands are sold without our knowledge, without our selling by us, so those lands are there.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Man maa ngi tudd Binta Jeng maa ngi dëkk Nema Nasiru suma doom de moo ma jëndaloon kër ngir dafa gis ci coono bu ma nekk léegi mu ñëw moom artiste daf dee tega programme mu tega pare mu ne ma yaa dama la bëgg a génne si problème léegi xaalis bu mu am 70,000 la mu njëkk a dugal 40,000 bi after gaay kolaat ko mu dugalaat 20 bi after mu dugalaat 10 muy 70 ndeke ñoom fuñ ñu jox foofu nekkul seen place léegi mu stade di sampa dem na ba def fa cabine de salle ak feñ ñu daanee feñ bi léegi maa ngi nii ñun luñu yaakaaroon gannaaw yàlla yónni taba day si kër bi lañ ko dugal dañ
yow da nga bëgg ñu delloo la sa xaalis bi wala
man daal su ma sañoon daal ñu delloo ko xaalis bi moo gën ñu lañ soona fu mu nekk nii
dañ daaneel seen feñ
daaneel nañ ko waaw ñu si Jóob Kunda duga
so léegi yow am nga waa Jóob Kunda pour nga waxaa ñoom
déedéet waxaguma ñoom de
da nga leen dee kontaan
déedéet tey laa leen door a gis doo leen dee mun a gis because ñoom seen téléphone yi soo ko koolee sax doo leen dee mun a am léegi beneen problème bu ma am maa ngi luwaas te dama am doom boo xam ne dafa am problème du dee nelew gu daf dee nekk di yuuxu rek mu ngi 12 years xale bu góor la waxu def dara dee disturb néegu si foofu léegi dama doon ñaan ngir yaa su gars yi mu ne delloo xaalis bi xale bi xaalisam bu mu yaakaar seef ko si banque bi yëpp la def si kër bi 3 years duñ leen dee mun a gis léegi suñ ma jàppale woon man dama dee luwaas suma doom bi artiste la daf dee tëgga dañ daane feeñ bi ñu bàyyi fa néeg bi ñemeñ ñoo laal néeg bi ko xam nga xëccoo suuf la ñemeñu ma ne ko mu bàyyeeku mu xool doon waaye gars yi boo leen dee mën a kool ñaata sim card la ñu am soo leen koolee duñ dee jël sa kool duñ ko dee jël man fii rek laa dégg sa gars yi nga ko news of it GRTS ma ne xaaral ma daw ma ñëw seet na naa lifin kayit yaa ngi nii gisuma gars yi
depuis 3 years la di doon
léegi yow képp si Jatakunda nga ko jëndee.
waaw ki ko joxe mu ngi fa des dañ ko ne mu waaw Lamine Diatta moo ko jaay suma doom mu ngi nii.
waaw léegi gars yi Jokunda ñoom ñu ne ñoom ñoo moom place.
léegi bi ñu demee ñu ne xam nga si jaabang iri la duga mu fool fa léegi cabinet ta saal bang fa ñeme ñu ko laal waaye feeñ bi daaneel na ko te feeñ bi roughly 15,000 def na ko fa néeg bi mu def fa 35,000 muy 50,000 plus 70 bi muy 120 billaay wallaay tala billaay Binta Jeng man léegi maa ngi ñaan gaa ñu jàppale ma because man suma doom boobu moom ma day jàppale gannaaw yàlla nañ ma téyele man suñu ma joxut kër sax nañ ko delloo xaalisam bi man kër bi moom is ok fu mu nekk billaay wallaay man bëgguma xëccoo suuf
ba tey try nga pour waxaa ñoom because ñoom ñëpp ñu ngi fi tey
man tey laa leen door a gis xaw ma leen sa jàng billaay
soo defuloo benn effort pour nga waxaa ñoom tey
man ki ma bëggoon a laajte sa gaa ñu ne dem na nekku fi dem na
Thank you very much and good afternoon to you all. We are here today to witness handing over of 4 pickup and 1 Prado to the regional offices of the ministry under the Land Commission. The Ministry of Lands, Regional Government and Religious Affairs is supposed to decentralize its service to the regional areas is providing support and decentralizing its technical arm to the regions to enable effective and efficient land management in the whole country. The ministry already have decentralized their technical department, that is Department of Physical Planning, in all the regions, and is on the verge of also decentralizing the Department of Lands and Surveys to the regions. So to enable them function effectively, the ministry deemed it fit to provide them with the logistic to be able to enable them to do their work efficiently. The regions to benefit from this today's handing over of vehicles is the region of URR, that is the Upper River region, the Physical Planning Office, together with the Lands Office there, as well as the Central River region and the Lower River region and the North Bank region. The representatives of the Physical Planning officers in those regions are with us here. You will recall that in the past, most of the transactions in these regions have been sent to the ministry, or we have to seek the support or the technical team. We've set up a technical team to go on a trek, to go and do some of these activities within the regions. So to reduce that pressure on the ministry, we've decentralized the offices in the region, and we are providing these pickups. In addition to the Prado that is being provided for the Land Commission, which was set some time back, and is to enable resolve land-related issues in the country here, is providing them with a laptop to each of the commission members to enable and enhance their work. So without wasting much time, I would like to officially call the Deputy Permanent Secretary, Technical, to give the keys to the beneficiaries. And then on that note, before I take leave of you, I would like to give this bit of caution to those beneficiaries who are going to use this vehicle, to know that the vehicle is provided for them to enable them to do their service. It's not vehicles provided to be used on other functions beside the function of their duty. So we have this confidence in the team in the provinces. They have been going through a lot in trying to do their work effectively. So the ministry providing them with this support is only to enable them to be able to deliver that much needed service to the general public. And we also urge the general public to be informed that the technical team is now within their midst. Let them make the best use of them. Let them engage them in their plannings of their villages and in their documentations. They are there to support them. They are there to provide them that service. And the ministry is providing them with these vehicles to enable them to reach out to all those who are within their regions. So on that note, I thank you very much. And then we will call on the Deputy Permanent Secretary to hand over the various keys to the various beneficiaries.
In communication, connectivity is everything. We ensure that the links never sleep. Quantities and qualities, all in our data service, providing efficient, reliable voice and data service. We believe if you're not up to speed, then you're going backwards. Communications have to flow as fast as the speed of light. Whatever business you're in, having someone who understands your needs is critical. That is why we just don't offer you technology, we offer you solutions. Enjoy Gamcel's internet broadband anytime, anywhere. Your national operator, Gamcel, Yaibaram.
Agada.
Mbijan aganya.
Albaka.
Mbaka important.
Yo, nga transfer la sto.
Ya transfer la sto.
Ha, code nyinji.
Okay. Korsan. Nsila ID soto.
Sa soto. Sorry. Agada.
Mbijan bro.
Albaka.
Mbaka.
Bara alla service o tariaka.
Bare
mo ki janna nun kunu bara tariaka.
Jannom yona forest de bureau. Gambia tonkon na no mbali ya bere. Birim koyna fo katon.
Bari si kodo kino katon nim fo bolong labe to.
56 branches mola sota Gambia jang.
Ha?
Gambia kono ani Gambia e bantala bankol. Nko kono kiya bele. kodo sifa fo falindiro fo nyaadi lafta même na kodi to poto nin kodi maraw jannom number 1 ti nyonta andum fana nata anoda enterprise sotale wala nyindi ko domorol fana kol fana be firale de dadi ma nin domorol dir fana beteat gambia dawda yalo ngam fa kendol sotale je
wo moyo diat
apelen da
baraka ni lafta nyelan kendol e binaji
yalo bu kanila ko la baraka ba
yalo ndel ciosano lo
baraka
yara ñilla domoro ka diaten
boy jannon sikes restaurant
e sa nakko be ni na dimbal nimbe domoro kala janno
domoro seneyata adiyata topotoro fanan kendema bije luntan during tamala abeka domoro ki janni adi manda wala de te ka we bijele anim fanan ka fadi jang ikono e fa e ka fa minne ko pastry anim bakery iko fanan be kalele badde lomba conference lomba workshop lomba ye fo fendin lon dunia kono domoro betama nyillom international otoda number 1
amanke ba domo la jandama
e sa domo jang is atariya
wo mu kubandi
sa nakko sa futandin
e oto sa nakko be mu sikes restaurant
ndafa na janna mu yat ni manje dorom bija
aban
CK's Restaurant, known for best quality food and customer satisfaction.